And welcome to the final edition of Pals Pulls of the year, closing out this wonderful, incredible year of comics. Of course, I am joined by Marco,
What's up, pals?
and I'm Sean. We are the two pals who have been sent to discuss with you the six books
Count them?
that six big books that we're here to talk about on this last Pals Pulls. We've got Action Comics finale, fitting, closing out the year with one of the best books of the year, of course. So we're talking Action Comics Annual, Titans Beast World #3, Flash #4, the listener pick this week,
Can't wait.
Duke
Can't wait.
#1. I can certainly wait. Uh, Also ending is Immortal X-Men with #18, and showcasing the beginning, the future of Marvel. We've got Timeless. So pretty interesting stuff on tap to talk about. Thank you to everybody who is with us right now, joining us to talk comics. And let's waste no time getting right into that. Let's talk about Action Comics Annual 2023. This is the send off to the Phillip Kennedy Johnson run with Superman, at least for the time being. Where he will land after this, we don't know exactly. But he is joined by artist Max Raynor with colors by Matt Herms, letters by Dave Sharp. So ends the run of Phillip Kennedy Johnson. We talked about how the last week's action,
That's
or
right.
maybe it was the week before, didn't feel like a proper finale. It really just was a weird issue. This is where you get the end. And of course, it's a little bit odd that we're not joined by, or at least as far as I'm aware, not joined by a series regular artist. Um,
Yeah. And frankly, I didn't mind. I've always felt that some of the artists that they've had on the Superman book have felt to be a bit more of like a grittier, heavy shading, heavy inking. It's always felt like a mismatch from a aesthetic perspective for me. So this
mm,
felt much more in line with something I would expect to be Superman. So I had an absolute blast. I think it was us two last week as well, where when we were talking about the initial Action Comics issue, I was disappointed if this was just going to be like the send off and they're gonna do a clean slate from here. But I'm glad that they gave Phil Kennedy Johnson the annual, which means the space to finish a story, to finish a run, to allow him to really close out the things that he was trying to say with all of these characters. And while I think it might have been a tad rushed, ultimately, I think he got his message out. He got to say what he needed to, and he's out on probably one of the most, in my opinion, impressive runs on Superman that I've well, frankly, the first Superman run I've ever continuously read and kept up with, specifically because of Philip Kennedy Johnson. Anything PKJ does, I'm picking up.
Man, I've tried several Superman runs. I tried Scott Snyder, I tried Grant Morrison. Um, the list goes on and on. The only one that I really remember enjoying was Jeff Johns. But this I think I even love more because it's done so many amazing things. And the greatness didn't end, or I should say, this issue lives up to the greatness of the rest of the series. Um, it does. It is a finale to the overarching story that's been told with Sister Shadow, um, and the two twins who have developed into characters that I actually do care about,
Yeah,
especially here in this issue. Uh, they now have super names, which I loved: Star Child and Red
Red Sun.
Sun.
That was really cool, man. And I like how it tied into the mythology piece as well. I'm like, hell yeah, that's really cool. And it's world building. It's world building through the simplest thing, with giving somebody a title. Easy.
Yeah, I really love that. Otho Ra is being courted by Sister Shadow to become, it seems as though she's trying to take over her body, which makes a lot of sense. But in order to lead this legion, this multiversal army, in the name of Al Ghul. And um it's a huge battle. And she needs the help of her brother. She needs the help of Superman to keep her from giving in to her baser nature. You know, they come from War World. They come from a planet where conquering is the word of the day.
Yeah.
That is the order of business. And she has to turn away from that. And this is the test of everything that her and her brother have learned through Superman. So the validation of Superman's effort is in the fact that she's able to resist this great evil.
Mm. Yep. And I think it's also, again, continues to be a testament to the Superman character under the guise or under the pen of Phillip Kennedy Johnson. He's hopeful. He impacts people outside of himself and his circle. And the fact that he has this family is, again, reinforcing that. The fact that he is an impactful character in both in DC, but also the smaller subset of the universe that he sits in. Like I think it perfectly encapsulates it, and this was really good, absolutely solid issue, and it's a shame that we can't see more because I can only imagine that he has more stories like this.
It's hard to imagine that Philip Kennedy Johnson doesn't have more thoughts
Mm,
about Superman. The one thing I sort of wish about this run is that we had gotten more just Superman stories, but
I
so
agree.
much of it is, I mean, this issue alone, there's like 57 super people running around. And I must say, watching some of the super people punch and kick, like the Blue Moon people, and then even some of the demon stuff, they don't look like they're hitting particularly hard.
Yeah.
That was something that really bothered me. It really seemed like the Bat family punching and kicking. Like this page here that I'm holding up, and it's two pages, two separate pages, but they both clearly illustrate what I'm talking about. When you look at the way that, the various super people on the pages are punching and kicking, there doesn't look like there's any real power behind it.
Mm,
And I was pretty frustrated by that. I think that characters who are this strong, their magnitude is lessened when there are so many of them. And everybody in this comic book is a Superman.
I think that's fair. The power scaling, especially for what is supposed to be, maybe not supposed to be, but what can be taken as like kind of like throwaway villains, because there's so many of them, it definitely affects it. And it's just kind of like, oh, they're just kind of like on cleanup duty. But I want to see these guys a bit more in action. And then to your earlier point on this being not a run that focused solely on Superman, I definitely agree with that, specifically because uh, the moments that we get where he interacts with even children and inspires those kids and gets them to feel something. I want more of that. Yes, it's his family, and yes, he obviously impacts them because he's a father figure. But how does he Superman exist like that for people at large, for the American way, for whatever it might be? Damn, dude, I kind of get the character. Like, I fuck with it now.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that this run, more than anything else I've ever seen or read, has made me a fan of Superman. And I got the opportunity to tell PKJ that during an interview at Comic Con.
Mm.
It wasn't just hyperbole. It was truth. I think he's done some really incredible things with a character that so many had written off as just not someone who could be made interesting in the comics. And Philip Kennedy Johnson is not the only writer that deserves credit for making the character interesting. Obviously, he's building off of what a lot of people have done. But I think it's hard to argue against the idea that this was very successful overall. Very, very successful.
Hard agree. Hard agree. And any time that PKJ decides to come back to the book, I'm gonna be there because I believe in him as a creator, and especially for this character.
I really like the Etrigan stuff. I normally really don't like Etrigan, but wow, he slotted right in.
Yep.
PKJ had some pretty slick, rhymes for him, and he wasn't goofy. He wasn't like stupid. He was a threat. He was sort of scary, and his rhymes were dark, which I
Yeah.
liked. I feel like so often when I see Etrigan, it's just corny.
Dang, dude, I love the inclusion of Ector, and it's funny because I feel like a lot of people feel that way, and it's just like, oh, his inclusion is usually just kind of like ham fisted, or he doesn't really represent this like demon that he's supposed to be. and the hierarchies of demonhood and whatever in the DC universe is random. He's obviously the rhymer. It's not iambic pentameter. I think he was only doing up to 8 syllables, but still, the fact that he kept consistent like this is very, very good. Loved it.
Yeah. Hey, Atomic Hound, my mistake. I said Blue Moon. I should have said Blue Earth, but Marco is right. Blue Moon is my drink. So, you know,
I know, I
if
know, I know him.
if anybody, if we're ever together and anyone decides they want to buy me a drink, that would be the drink of choice. Um, the art's real good too. So I can't think of a time when I've seen Max Rainer's work before,
Yeah.
but boy, was he cooking. The work here is real strong, and I really like the action scenes. I don't blame him for the fact that there just doesn't look like a lot of punch behind the power of the super people.
Mm.
It's more just the nature of having so many of them, and it's hard, but I don't think it's his fault. Otherwise, everything looks strong. Um, his characters have a lot of emotion in their faces. I really love Red Sun right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
Yeah.
he's really angry and he's got this burning fist and the rage in his face. It's good stuff across the board. And the colors, Matt Herms, man.
Yep.
Wow. Great colors here too.
A lot of pop.
Yep, a lot of pop, lots of greens, and like reddish pink is all over the place. When you're talking like even Superman's cape, but also his eye beams. This was a really cool page. You can see here Superman using the eye beams, and it's that reddish pink. But then also when he's flying, you
Mm.
see his cape is hilariously elongated. It's certainly a stylistic choice, but it works. It's real cool stuff.
It's that visual like swoosh representation. You're
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Um, yeah, I don't have more to say, to be honest. I think this was a great run. I'd love to talk about the run overall at some
mm.
point because it was great. And frankly, I got on after War World. I
Oh,
was
did
like,
you?
yeah, I was
Oh,
like, I can't jump into the mix of this in the middle of a big story. I got to come on after the fact. So I've never even read War World. So I got to get to that. But
ooh.
everything else, A plus.
You know what, Sean? Okay, okay. What I heard was I need a book club pick, and Marco's gonna provide that. Okay, perfect, amazing. That's what I heard.
Have you read it?
Yeah, bro.
All right. So then why are you picking books for the book club you haven't even read when we got this amazing
The
thing that people want to hear us talk about? This is
meanings
a
of Marco
great
should
this,
vote.
this is great comics. Great comics.
Yeah, easy pull, man.
Yeah. Pull for sure. And pick of the week for me.
Ooh, ooh. No, not yet. No, not yet.
Dude, if it's Flash,
Huh?
I
Sorry.
don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Uh-huh. What is up to everybody that is joining us live? Appreciate you guys showing up. Love to see the green names in the chat. If you guys want access to the aforementioned green name, if you want to become a VI pal, you can do that by becoming a channel member. You click the join button on this very video or on our channel, and you can join us. We're also very thankful for our patrons, patreon.com/the comics pals. If you want to support, if you're still feeling festive, as we are in the end of the year, the Christmas spirit may still be inside of you. Lots of people joined us on Patreon over the last few weeks. And if you want to do that as well, that's patreon.com/the comics pals. Watch this show live every single Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Watch the main show live every single Saturday. This Saturday, special start time of 12 p.m. Eastern for the Pallies. Can't hear you, Mark. You are muted. But the
Oops.
Pallies will be this Saturday. You guys are not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a ton of fun. I can promise you that. I am very much looking forward to it.
Can't wait to win. Stop! It was such a dismissive laugh. Stop.
Oh, man. Let's hit a couple comments real quick. Uncaged in the chat. Of course, that is his given name from
That's
his
right.
Pals Verse entry.
Yep.
Says, since that interview, I've been reading Geiger and I just bought Junkyard Joe today. I'll
Oh,
get to the Superman stuff.
hell yeah! Congrats, man. That's gonna be a good deep dive over the New Year break if you have it. Absolutely good stuff.
That's good reads.
Mm.
Good reads. Uh I mean Perez, yeah. Closing the loop with the criminal he helped at the beginning of Dawn of DC was beautiful. I agree. That was a great closeout to Action Comics. PKJ's run is definitely deserving of an omnibus at some point down the road.
Yep.
Hopefully they do that.
It's bound to come.
We got the War World Compendium.
Yeah, I think so. That came out recently too, right?
It did, yeah. I
Yeah.
gotta cop that. I gotta cop that.
Bring back. I'm in Paris. Bring back the Adventures of Superman title. If it's this good, why not? More Superman.
I think the sales for PKJ's run were hampered by the price point dictated by having backups. I agree with that, Atomic Count. I think the backups hurt this book. I think the
Hmm.
price point hurt the book. I think it's hard when you're, because it's received so much praise, right? Like it's one of the most praised books of the year. But when it's 4.99 or whatever it was per issue, and you don't care about almost half of what it is that you're buying, it's a tough sell.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's jump into Titans Beast World number 3. This is by Tom Taylor with art by Lucas Mayer, Romulo Fajardo Jr. on colors, and Wes Abbott on the letters. Can I ask you guys, does this feel like an event? Does it feel like DC has an event going on right now?
That's an that's a good question. It's it, it is monumental enough that you could make the argument, but in the reading of the book, am I feeling, oh my god, gotta turn to the next page to find out what's going on? Like, how is this gonna resolve for all of our heroes? How are we going to? What's Amanda Waller doing in the background? Like, it's it works. It works, and I feel like that's maybe the most thing you can say about it in terms of it being an event. It's not knocking my socks off, even though I don't have socks at the moment. But that is not due to the fact of this book.
Interesting.
Are you higher on this?
Uh I like it. I like it. I like the last issue a lot more. I
Mm,
thought that the
mm,
moment with Bruce and Dick was great. I thought there was a lot more. There were a lot more interesting things to me in that issue. Um, this one, it's sort of more of the same, quite frankly.
yeah.
It's more heroes saving people. It's more, in a lot of ways, it just feels like an extension of what's been happening in Titans. It's the Titans, doing busy work. They're not really getting to the root of the problem. And now they've sort of identified through the help of Detective Chimp,
Let's go.
which was a funny cameo, that the real problem is Garo,
Yes.
Beast Boy, being a Starro. And I'm sort of wondering, because the Titans have been around for a while, the Justice League is here, even though they're not called that.
Mm.
I'm sort of wondering, why did it take a talking
Yes.
chimpanzee
Yes.
to figure this out? What does he even know? Why does he even know that that's what's going on and they don't?
Because he's a chimp and a detective.
This is goofy.
I,
Of
I
course they would know.
I had the same exact thought of just like when he came out and he had like the reveal. It was a cute little funny moment, but then he had the reveal, and I'm like, wait, I thought we were on the same page. Why is this news?
Right.
And totally confused. I'm like, okay, well, fine. Now they know now they know how to deal with who to deal with the problem is, but now how? I guess that's gonna be the fun part. But yeah, same exact reaction. I was just like, I expected this.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand narratively why Tom Taylor wanted to have that moment to shift the focus of the book. I got it. I got it. But it's totally obvious that that's what's causing this. The spores are coming from him, are they
Right.
not?
Yep. Exactly. And you would have thought this would have been addressed in issue 2, because that would have been a nice like, they're all getting turned. It's Gar. Like we really got sorry Garo. Like we really gotta get on it, and then boom, move forward. But
Right.
they're taking their time to get there.
And all that really happens here is that it's, Nightwing is beat up. He's bruised up from his scuffle with Bruce.
Mm.
Where Batman, if you will, whatever creature he's turned into. Um, the revelation, of course, which is not a revelation, that this is all caused by
Ah,
Garo, excuse me.
ah.
Yeah. And yeah, and more Donna Troy and Starfire are the most dangerous people here
Which like
somehow.
still I don't understand. And I started reading Titans issue 6, and they go into like they basically just go into her backstory, to Starfire's backstory, which is
Mhm.
like why she becomes the most, the biggest threat. And a large portion of it being was she was previously enslaved and was able to overcome these things, and but the connection still wasn't felt, because I'm like, well, but it's like, no offense to Starfire, it's kind of just Starfire and kind of just Donna Troy. Like they're not gonna end the world necessarily. Supergirl got in this issue.
That seems worse
Right, exactly.
for some reason to me. I don't know.
Agreed. Hard agree. I don't know, man. It's, I mean, it's doing the work. It's doing the groundwork in terms of it having to tell the story, but I feel like I'm a few steps ahead of the story already, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to resolve to some degree.
Amin Perez says, "You don't get it, Sean. That Batman Wolf is a new toy, which I want, so it's justified." I'm with that too, bro. I'm totally down for that. I got no problem. Like, the general concept is something that I'm not for. But
Mm,
the execution, at least in the first two issues, was like, all right, I'm on board. This one's slower. Gotta have your slow issue. I totally get that. But I don't care so much about watching the heroes saving people just because it feels like there's bigger fish to fry. Heroes have to save people. I presuppose that
mm,
they do. I
mm.
don't need to see it nonstop because I know that already. They need to do something else. This is the halfway mark of the series. They
Yeah.
need to do something.
Uncaged says it in the chat. I literally started this journey with the Titan show. I read all Modern Titans. Wolf and Perez. I don't think Beast World elevates the Titans. Like they're not doing the work. They're not doing the hard work that makes them a class act. They're they're still just saving people, and we're still just kind of seeing that, and that's fine. To your point, I would also just assume they're going to be doing those things. So why are you showing me something I know is going to happen in the background? It feels extra or
Right.
more.
Yeah. Like I assume, right, that in the margins of Batman comics, when we're not, following him, he probably stops incidental crime, right? Like
Sure.
but we don't need to see that. It's
Mm.
not necessary. We just assume it or whatever, whatever your headcanon is. I really don't care. But in my mind, I assume, and I wasn't saying that to you, but in my mind, I assume that that's what Batman does.
Yep. Yep.
So, I don't know. I'm not trying to be nitpicky here. I do think there is good work. But I would like more to happen, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Hard agree.
Um, the art's not any worse, or I mean, it wasn't bad at all before with Ivan Reis, one of the best DC artists ever. But Lucas Mayer doesn't feel like a tremendous step down by any means.
I agree. Yeah, and I like that they did the title page on the splash with the big
Yeah.
explosion. That was cool. I was like, oh, word. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay, showing off. He's flexing. All right, I respect it. Give him his laurels. But yeah, agreed. I didn't feel the I mean, in the chat, Furry's contract. Uh, I didn't feel like a step down. This felt like it translated cleanly. Honestly, until I went back up top to the title page, I'm like, oh shit, wait, that's not Mr. Reese here. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Lost them to Ghost Machine.
Well, I'm excited for that. So
Indeed. Then I guess, stinger scene at the end of this shows Amanda Waller, a Peacemaker, who, you know, future stars of the DCU,
Woo!
uh, they're doing their usual shtick of doing absolutely nothing. And Amanda Waller journeys to the prison of Lex Luthor to acquire from him something that he stole from Batman. Do I know what it is? No. Should I know what it is? I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat will tell me. Do I care what it is? That's really the core question. And the answer is absolutely not.
I thought it was gonna be the what's that run, Tower of Babel, where like Superman just like, or Batman rather, like can knock everybody out. I thought it was like one of the what are his protocols for a Starro Beast Boy.
Okay.
All right.
I don't get it. They've stopped Starro 50 million times, have they not?
Word.
Why do you need some special protocol? Just beat the shit out of him. I guess it's because it's also their friend, so they don't want to like, but this is the Earth. We're dealing like people are being infected. Like they don't know that they're going to be able to ever cure these people.
Yeah.
So all of Earth is being consumed and turned into monsters, and they're not willing to immediately shut this down. These people are dumb.
Yeah. It man, I don't know. It's just like it's this silliness of we're gonna let the back, and especially for Amanda Waller because she's been persisting since the beginning of the year. I want to say she's just been around. It's like let her do her thing. We're gonna set all of this kind of stuff up, and I'm just worried for the payoff. I don't think it is gonna pay off, and I think I'm gonna be at the end of this really frustrated and just kind of look back at the consequences of Dark Crisis and all of these events and just kind of like, oh, okay, it happened.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like an event that is happening. And yes, it's better than I thought it would be. I will definitely give it that, as Atomic Count said in the chat. For me, that's not a high bar. Is it solid and enjoyable? I would say so. If you're willing to turn your brain off just a little bit, you can appreciate some great Lucas Mayer art. But at 4.99, you know, I wouldn't say I'm having 4.99's worth of fun every single week with this thing. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. Um, pull it for pull it just because I think it is better than what I expected. So at the very least, I'm interested to see how it resolves. And I will say Titans issue 6 because it was a reflection on Starfire. I kind of had fun with that one. It wasn't them doing necessarily the superheroics, but it was a good character study. So take that for what it's worth.
I passed on buying that.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Fair
done
enough.
with Titans. I'm
Yeah.
not buying it anymore.
Fair. Fair.
Someone's gonna have to tell me that it's actually consistently on the right track, a track that makes sense for those characters, and I'll pick it up. Currently, the only team book that I'm buying, the only team books I'm buying are, and it'll be hilarious if I show my stack later and there's a team book in it that I don't even think about, but Birds of Prey and X-Men. Those are the only team books that I'm currently buying.
Oh, you're still picking up X-Men?
Yeah. Avengers I'm done with.
Right.
Titans I'm done with. No more.
No Justice League. Yep.
No, I mean, I wish there was a Justice League book for me to buy. You can't get it anymore. Let's get Phillip Kennedy Johnson on the case, please,
Please,
DC.
please.
Please. Please, please, please. Please, audience, stop voting for The Flash in the listener pick poll, which, by the way, is up right now. It's up right now. So before we get into the Flash #4 review, I want to look at the listener pick poll, and I want to discuss where we are at with the results. What is it that you guys are enjoying voting for in the hour that the poll has been up? So the options are Birds of Prey #5,
Nice.
which is my pick. That's what I voted for. Birds of Prey Poison Ivy #18. Try to throw something a little different on there. I know it's been a book that people have loved. Marvel Meow #1, which has 20% of the vote.
That's so good.
And Vengeance of Moon Knight #1. So Birds of Prey and Moon Knight are tied at 36%. Poison Ivy only got 8%, and Marvel Meow at 20%. So now that I've said this, I assume some of you will go ahead and get your votes in, And later on, we'll check. At the end of the show, we'll check and see where the poll is at.
Wow, 26 votes in an hour. You guys are crushing, man.
The numbers have been getting higher. I'd love to see you guys show up and vote for the poll. It makes it a lot more interesting when we've got a lot of engagement there.
Yo, let's go. What's up, Cole? Marco's minions reporting in. That's right, baby. We're about to get into it.
Who's burner? Who's burner?
Stop.
Who's burner, please?
Nobody's. It's just they exist. They persist. They are.
Uh-huh. All right. Hameen Perez says Marco's minions and Sean Samurais.
Greater
Please
than
no.
Sean Samurai. Let's get the mathematical symbols correct.
Who cares? I don't want samurais. I don't
Ooh.
want sycophants.
Oh, that was cool. That was cool.
Huh? Come on. Sean sycophants, Sean supporters. You know, these are all great words that we can use. All right. Cy Spurrier knows a lot of great words too.
Hell yeah.
And every single one of them is present in this comic book. And he's desperate for you to know that he knows all these words. And he could put them together in an interesting interesting to some order. This, of course, is written by Cy Spurrier with art by Mike Deodato Jr., colors by Trish Mulville, letters by Hassan Otsman Al-How. Go ahead, Marco.
Man, this is poetic, bro. Not even poetic, poetic. The way he and I think in tandem with Hudson, or what's him call it, Otsman Elhau, the letterer. I'm also a huge fan, so I love the way that for me, the communication of the emphasis for certain words, the bolding, the small letters, like it's really evocative of different kinds of emotions. And again, this gets into things that are just up my alley. Freaking quantum mechanics, meditation, a reflection of the mind. It's exciting me in all the things that I nerd out about in real life. And for me, he's putting together an interesting story about this concept of his inner self. And I feel like I'm at a point where I do a lot of that self-reflection, and I'm seeing things kind of spill out from the pages that really apply to my own philosophies. Book of the week, baby.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Can you explain to me why it is that Irie doesn't know the word nuance, but then later she goes on a whole soliloquy and all of a sudden is like the smartest child of all time? She goes, um, uh, okay, so the other girl, I assume that's Jessie Quick. She says,
Yeah.
"You pickpocketed a speedster, going the opposite way while regaining solidarity." That's and then Irie says, "Fascinating," and then she says, "No, not me. Can't you sense it? This chemical. It's a Speed Force conduit. I bet this is how that Chad guy got his powers too. The vibrations, the echo of the glow. I think I can feel where this came from." Okay. All right. Okay, Irie.
Yeah.
Okay. And then earlier in the book, she doesn't know she doesn't know how to say the word nuance.
that was really cute. That was a good little moment.
No, Marco. How can it be cute that she doesn't know how to say the word nuance, but then later on she knows how to say the word conduit?
She's around the word conduit. surely.
Is this what it takes? Is this the suspension of disbelief that it takes to enjoy this comic book? Are you kidding me?
Nah.
Are you kidding me? Are you really for real? She's presented as childlike for the whole issue. And then all of a sudden, she goes on a whole speech where she knows all these words. No, it's because it's Cy Spurrier talking, not a little girl. It never was a little girl. When he needed her to just be a little girl, she didn't know the word nuance. When he needs her to be himself, she's him.
I don't know. It's working for me. It's working for me.
All right, you can like it, but can you acknowledge that what I'm saying is accurate?
I think the conduit thing makes sense. She's probably around the Speed Force people all the time, so
But
I,
those aren't the only words she said. Read the passage. I just read it out loud. Did that sound like it was coming from a child to you? A child who does not know the word nuance.
she can know the word fascinating. I don't feel like it's a big deal.
Read the passage. I didn't say fascinating. I never said that.
Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up.
This is ridiculous.
Vibrations makes sense. Chemical makes sense. Echo, glow. They're four two-syllable words, one-syllable words.
She's okay. So Fee Waver points out she's 13 years old and she doesn't know the word nuance, but she
Vibrations.
knows all those other things she said.
I see it. I don't know.
I don't, and I'm tired of this.
What was the I guess what was the thing that you got out of in terms of what Sai was trying to communicate, especially in the garden area. I'm curious
The
just to read
garden
through.
area where Flash is just standing around.
But yeah, where he's walking around the gallery.
Are you asking me that to test me to see if I understand what's happening in this comic book?
Well, I mean, are you engaged with what is happening in the comic book? I guess.
No,
Okay. Okay.
no. I understand exactly what's happening. I understand that this is a place that sort of been created by his mind, and each of these statues sort of represents a person that he loves, and he can tap into them by going through them because he's essentially outside of time or whatever, and he's taking a break to take it all in, which is exactly what I want out of the Flash comic.
Damn it.
That is so exactly what I buy this for.
It's literally what I'm buying it for, man. It but it's all connected to the Speed Force. So for me, I guess I don't understand why, like, what the issue therein is him being able to travel and tap into other people's Speed Force energy or in the moment.
I didn't say I had a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that 4 issues in, all we've seen the Flash do is stand around.
Hmm.
This is called the Flash, and he's standing around for 4 issues.
I guess the slowness of it. It's working well for me, that I don't have to keep up with the character, that I'm walking alongside him, and that's easy enough for me to get a frame of reference in his head, and then from there let's jump into the superheroics. Who is he as a person? Who is he as an individual? Then maybe we'll throw a punch and kick some ass.
So who is he? Who's Wally?
It seems like he's a stressed out individual who's pensive and wants to do good in the world, and that's compelling to me. It's a good character.
It sounds like every single superhero that exists in comics.
I don't feel
Who
like
is Wally West? What have you distinctly learned about Wally West that is unique from other heroes that you know from this comic?
I mean, his ability to, at the moment, his ability to just take a beat and take a moment in. I feel like other heroes don't do that. Do you disagree?
Yeah, this is a pass. I don't think this is good. I really don't.
What?
I think the Diodato art is great. I think
Yeah.
he's being wasted. I don't think this is good. And that's just me talking. Other people can have whatever opinion they want to have. I love the creators involved. Everybody's great. I'm saying that this book is not for me, and I really, really, really don't want to read it.
Mm-hmm. Man, this was for me just another strong entry. And it's divisive in the chat. I'll say that. Cole also says, this is a divisive run. People are all in or they're fed up.
I'm fed up.
We've had
And I am more of a Barry guy. I do like Barry. I mean, who could know the difference between them? Wally is a Barry clone, essentially. Wally was introduced to replace Barry. That's it. And once Barry came back, there wasn't a place for Wally, which is why they turned him heel in Heroes in Crisis and upset every Wally fan.
Hmm. I,
This doesn't feel like a Flash comic book to me. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's a Cy Spurrier comic. It's more of a Cy Spurrier comic than a Flash comic, and I think that is my biggest problem with it.
hmm.
What is the style of writing of Phillip Kennedy Johnson? He brings himself, but he addresses the character. That's why his Superman run does not feel like what he was doing at Marvel. But everywhere that Cy Spurrier goes, it's the same thing. It's the same. What makes this feel like a Flash comic? Absolutely nothing to me.
The scenarios, the characters. That's about it. For,
The
in all honesty,
characters.
in all honesty, and not in terms of the way that he'll explore the character, but in the sense of just reliving in this with these characters who have these power sets, and that's the only thing grounding me to the Flash at the moment. To be fair,
Pass. Pass. Once this arc is over, when this arc ends, this book will not appear in the poll anymore. It will
bro.
not. It will not. I'm getting out of this. I promise you. In 2024, I'm not reading this fucking book unless it improves dramatically. Unless something starts to happen.
I mean, in the chat, says Spurrier needs to drop the big reveal now. We're losing people. I I wouldn't doubt that people are slowly pulling off of this book. But I'm curious as to I mean what you mean by the big reveal, because we've got a taste in the second issue in terms of like these higher beings, higher order beings, and then we have he's just kind of taking in the moment of this new potential of the Speed Force. So I kind of like that they're sitting with what it is. They're giving me the instructions to build my own world of what I need to consider for Wally moving forward.
Comic Boom says Flash lost me as of this latest issue. I understand that.
Hmm.
I understand that. But yeah, I mean, I see you guys. I see that you guys are into it, and that's cool. That's great. That's great. I'm glad people enjoy it. Not everything is for everybody. This is not for me. And also, Philosopher King, I see you trying to come up with other names for my people, my fans. Sean Shinobis.
Oh, he's not a manga guy, bro. Sorry.
No, I'm not. Sean Sherpas. That doesn't work. Sorry. It's not good. Let's move on. Let's get out of DC because DC is troubling me these days. And let's talk about Duke. Duke #1. Now, this of course by Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley, and colors by Jordi Belair with letters by Russ Wooten. This is a book that we actually, well, I don't know, Marco, if you read it, but when we interviewed Tom Riley and Joshua Williamson a few weeks back,
Yep.
Tyler and I got to read this. And so I read it again for the purposes of this review. I enjoyed it just as much the second time. Marco, is this your first read of this?
No, this is the a second. I did read it initially, and it's fun. The art is incredible. Tom Riley has that cartoonish art that I absolutely adore and love. A mix between what would be oh my god, I just blanked on the name from Strange Adventures.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You're talking about the character?
No, the artist
Oh, Jesus.
is right there, dude.
How can I not?
It's not Jared's.
Not if it's not Jared's, then it's Doc Shaner.
Yeah, it has that like cartooniest. It's flexible. I love the inking, and then Jordi Bell on colors always crushes it. So always. This is undoubtedly a solid issue.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this is that I have no familiarity with G.I. Joe whatsoever.
Yeah, same.
I didn't even know who Duke was. That's how little I understand. I thought maybe he was G.I. Joe, and this was his origin. I don't know. But what's so compelling to me about this is the angle and the slant that Joshua Williamson and co. have decided to take with this story. Now, in the Transformers book, I think it's issue 2, there is an interaction in which fighter pilots are facing off with what they think is another fighter pilot, but it turns out to be a Decepticon. And Duke sees this and it kills his friend. And now that he's had what is essentially an alien encounter that went badly for the US military, he's not willing to shut up and not talk about it. He's not willing to just be a good soldier. And the first few pages of the series tell you that all of what you need to know, which is that Duke is a great soldier. He's committed to his job and loves it. He is a man of action. But he's haunted by something that he saw, and because of that, he's in trouble with the powers that be. That's it. And his adventure, his calling in this issue, is to try to figure out what it is that he saw and who's behind it and to shut that down. And that sends him on a rabbit hole that is very reminiscent of a lot of conspiracy type of stories that you've seen before. It has the appropriate trappings, and it may feel derivative on some level to you. But to attach that same kind of conspiracy concept to the Transformers and have that be the origin of everything that comes with G.I. Joe, I think that's pretty cool. I'm into that.
It's clever. It's clever, and I think the line that got me was when the doctor said, sometimes the truth is always hidden amongst the nonsense or something. She says something about like it persisting in places where you wouldn't normally look. And fine, fair enough. And that also I feel like makes it a bit more relatable or real. Because if somebody were to come up to me and be like, there are robots walking among us, I'd be like, cool, like let's that's really great stuff. Let's like I'm trying to get a burger, like, but that would probably be the lead up to them integrating into a larger society. Is like, well, yeah, they were on the fringes of what reality is because maybe people didn't have an understanding, or they were only taken in these small doses, and I loved it. I thought that as a driver for him initially, and him realizing that he's going down that path of the rabbit hole, and he's acknowledging it. But then he finds the professor. They make their way, and he tries to really dig up the truth. And I had fun with it. It was a nice action-filled comic. I didn't feel like I needed the homework of having to know his history, and this is enough to ground me in the story, into the character. I see that he's a caring, compassionate person, and he just ultimately wants to do what's right in the world. And that's even noted in the first few pages when he starts to defy his superiors. It's like, no, he knows what he saw, and he knows that it's right to learn the truth.
Yeah,
Had a lot of fun.
And then the rest of the work is up to Tom Riley, who is more than capable of handling the job. I mean, the art's awesome. Tom Riley's got a style that we've praised him a lot for. I think he might have even been in our best artist of the year category, maybe last year or the year before. He might have been. I'm not 100% sure, but
And you guys
either
spoke to him.
way, yeah. Either way, he's fantastic, and all of his talent is on display here. This is a more grounded, darker book than I think we often get with Tom. But if you liked Thing, if you liked any of his collaborations with Al Ewing on the Ant-Man stuff or anything like that, this is in that league. It's a style that I think makes perfect sense for this world. The action is crisp. It's clean, but it's also got some grittiness to it. The only moment in the entire book that was questionable for me is this right here. It's the scene where Duke gets attacked by some soldiers.
Yeah.
And if you look at this panel, if you look at the top panel that I'm holding up right now, he's absolutely getting hit by bullets.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's dead. He's in a fire. It's a firing squad. He's completely dead. And every single bullet somehow misses his body, even though Tom Riley and Jordi Belair themselves cannot make it look like he's not getting hit. I mean, if you really just look at this, like he's getting blasted. But, it's comics.
Yeah, that I had the same reaction of just like, oh, he's dodging the bullets. Yep, okay, cool, sure,
Yeah.
keep it rolling.
Chad, any excitement for Duke? Are you guys into this stuff at all, or no? You guys don't care about Duke. You care about the G.I. Joe wave of books that's coming? I want to know because I'm not into GI Joe, but if there's interest on your end, I'm going to be reading it either way. This issue was awesome. So I want to know if you guys want us to be reviewing this stuff. Do you care? I know you
I
care about Transformers.
I will say the additional the addition of the characters at the end to like go and hunt Duke,
Yeah,
super compelling, and they look rad, man. Like, and it goes back to that conversation that you guys had of just like, you know, updating the designs or at least making them look like they're really really cool, and action packed, posable, and I felt that, especially in the ways that it looked like this would be art. You know how you have the plastic in front and the toys right there, but then the entire
sure.
back of it is just like some sort of art piece. That's what
Yeah.
that looked like. I'm like, oh, I can see this on the shelves, and it's not even because of that that it excites me, but I think it's an interesting concept. You need to hunt down an American hero with American heroes. Boom, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth pointing out that, Tom Riley has had the opportunity to, you know, design the look and feel for this world. So I don't know how accurate those designs are to those characters,
Mm.
but either way, they look awesome and I can't wait. And then, the book is punctuated by a tease for Cobra Commander, which we actually saw this tease at New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
It was these same pages, and it's cool to see it in person with all of the lettering and everything else. And it's just a tease for Cobra Commander and how vicious he is as a person. Um, cool, cool.
pull,
Yeah, I'd pull it. Absolutely. This is awesome. I love this.
easy
I
pull.
love this.
And we've got a few comments as well. Cole, I have no experience with GI Joe, but I'm sold after this. Yeah, same page. Channel member Dan Trudeau. As an adult, I've always been indifferent to GI Joe and Transformers, but I can't argue with the talent involved. And I think that's something that's really important. Is like even if this isn't something that you've interacted with before, this is the jumping on point for a lot of these things. And so for this to be a first issue, I'm excited because just the premise alone, I'm down to read more issues.
Yeah, I think whether you're a GI Joe fan or not should be immaterial in this case because we're talking about good comics.
Yeah.
So, let yourself fall into it. And if you try Duke number 1 and you really don't care for it, then
Hey.
fair game. But I think it's good enough that it's worth a shot.
Ooh, and Fee Waver says Cobra Commander is where it gets really good. It's one of the best designed villains ever. Based off the conversation that we heard at that panel, man, there's a lot to come. So stay tuned and keep your socks on as best you can.
Let's talk about Immortal X-Men number 18, the finale issue. I do want to show off the cover that I got. It is the
Nice.
Jean Grey centric one. Um, can't get enough of Marvel Girl. This is by the other guy that writes a lot of words, Kieron Gillen, with art by Juan Jose Rip, colors by David Curiel, letters by Clayton Cowles. And this is the talkie one. This is the talkie finale that is set to explain every single thing that Mother Righteous has been doing this entire time.
In the
Um,
background.
which is so much fun to read, I have to tell you. And if it's not her explaining something, it's Mr. Sinister explaining something to
Yeah.
Professor X, who then explains things to Mr. Sinister that everybody should understand already, and yet everybody can't stop explaining themselves. Man, it's so wild how much I loved this book and how little I cared about it at the end.
If you could, just the second page where it just says Atlantic Cocoa, the White Hot Room. And just want to see all the bubbles involved that take you down and slid down the page.
The second page,
Or I guess actually it would be the third or fourth. Right after the desert, right after the intro credits.
talking about this.
Yeah, yeah, and on the right on the side with all of those bubbles. I think it slows the book down tremendously,
You
and
think?
the it's I'll say it was a good issue. I enjoyed the information that was thrown at me, but it felt like a dump. and I liked the, you know, the backstab upon backstab and all that kind of stuff. But for how I had it had to be paced out, I think it could have been done a lot better.
Um, it's see the thing is that we already know this.
Mm.
We already know that Mother Righteous has this power. We've seen her use it. I feel like they've explained this. Nothing that she said was a surprise. I mean, we learned how she was able to get into the white hot room, even though she's not a mutant, which was convoluted.
Yes, thank you.
That was so convoluted. Why wouldn't the Sinisters have mutant DNA in them already?
That was literally my, oh dude, we're on the same page today. And I thought, I'm like, okay, but then what is this ability that you can just take? Is that not also a mutant ability then? You can take these little bits of something. It's magic, whatever, fine. But I was frustrated at that because that didn't make, I guess, well, what is comic book sense? But that didn't make comic book sense, you know?
Just really, really bizarre. Really bizarre. And yeah, like even the stuff that Sinister and Professor X are talking about is just whatever. They're trying to get to the Moira clones, I guess, for whatever reason. They're trying to figure out who the Dominion's gonna be.
Mm.
They assume it's Mother Righteous, but I guess it's not. This page right here, this infographic,
Oh, yeah.
I am so ready for this era to be over. I can't wait for the Krakoan era to be over because I don't want to read those infographics anymore. They've gotten so far from what Hickman established that made those so cool and fresh and fun. Now they're literally just dumps of information when the whole entire issue is already that,
Mm.
and it's not even presented in an interesting way.
I've honestly been using that as like, oh, okay, cool. We're halfway through the book. Thank you.
Right. Destiny wakes up from her coma or whatever and figures she'll now decide to tell everybody where they're at, which is the white hot room, which again is not new information. We, the reader, already know that. So what did we learn that we didn't already know that's pertinent? The only thing we learned that we didn't already know that's pertinent is that apparently Mother Righteous is not the Sinister that becomes a Dominion, and that there was another Sinister who we don't even know about. There's some kind of enigma that appears to be have made it and is the Dominion, and is an AI of some kind of the original Nathaniel Essex, maybe, maybe not.
That's kind of what I got out of that is the, like, whatever's in there in that tube thing. But then also, then doesn't that mean that this has persisted? This thing has persisted forever, and they ultimately knew that this was going to come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Fee Waver says Sinister isn't a mutant. He was augmented by Apocalypse. I know that Sinister's not a mutant. Immortal X-Men has explained that since issue 1. I also know it because I've been reading comics for forever. That's not the problem. Sinister is not the problem because this is not Sinister. These are the clones. So what would be the complexity? The same way that Sinister has DNA of Thunderhawk or whatever his name is, whatever his name is. No, T-Hawk's the Street Fighter guy. Whatever, however he got that in him is the same way that all of the Sinisters can do that. I don't feel like we needed a convoluted excuse as to how Mother Righteous was able to get in the White House.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
That was a waste of time.
Like, she's already there. Don't, why bother explaining it? You're wasting pages. You're wasting panels. It's fine.
Yeah. Gavin Thunderbird, thank you so much. Gavin, what's up? Love you, man. Superman 90 or 78 is art with Gavin in it. Gavin's artwork is there, so if you want to check that out, it's good stuff. I really like it.
Yeah.
I'll say this for Kieron, at least he seems to cut the panel count when the word count goes up as an artist. That's the nightmare.
Oh, that's when you showed the page.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I think so much of the artwork ends up just getting covered in dialogue. And it's like it's one thing if it's stuff that we need to know, but so much of this does feel um unnecessary.
Yeah. I was initially hyped for Enigma. Like when that popped up in that page, I'm like, oh, interesting. But now, as we've talked through this, I'm a bit less excited because this is the last issue, right?
Yeah, yeah, this
Yeah.
is it.
So now I don't know how this leads into some of the other stuff that's going on, and I'm curious as to how that is going to play out. Um,
It leads into the fall of House of X and the rise of powers of X.
but then does that mean that we're gonna get more Sinister? Because
Yes,
I'm over that,
of
man.
course. They have to deal with the fact that in the future he becomes a Dominion.
I thought we got rid of that timeline.
Marco, we literally just this issue was to show us that in the future Sinister becomes a Dominion.
I thought that
And it's not the same version or future as Sins of Sinister.
Okay. I thought it was explaining that the Sins of Sinister thing we got past. This is just a new, like the return of a more original Sinister.
This is saying that there is a sinister AI
Right.
that is ultimately what will become a Dominion. Many moons ago, in Sins of Sinister Dominion #1, and then Immortal, whatever issue of Immortal X-Men followed that, we learned that yes, they took down that future. That future is cooked. But a Sinister, one of the clones, still eventually becomes a Dominion. And everybody the entire time has, at least on our end, on the reader end, has thought it was going to be Mother Righteous. This issue exists to explain to us that she doesn't succeed because of destiny, but that it's someone else.
Ooh, I don't
It's
like this.
another Sinister. It's this Enigma Sinister.
Oh, okay. I don't. All right. Pass.
It's rough. It's rough. Amin says, so is it okay to skip Immortal X-Men or is it a must? If you're talking about like from an overall, you know, this era of X-Men thing, do you have to read this book? I think you do until they get to the White Hot Room era, which has been the last 5 or so issues, maybe 6, probably 6. Everything before, well, even the Sins of Sinister tie-in stuff wasn't great. I think the first arc of this book or so is phenomenal. It was one of the books that people were saying was the book of the year in 2022.
Mm,
The mighty really have fallen.
yikes.
And unfortunately, the art isn't much better.
I thought it was muddy, especially in some of the panels where we're looking at like some of the backgrounds. It's just these like washes of surrounding gray, almost like I forget what the camera filter is. It's not a silhouette, but it just like it encapsulates the exteriors of the panels, and I don't know. It didn't work for me. The colors are pretty dark, not necessarily muted, but definitely muddy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame. It really really is. It feels like this entire era of X-Men is ending on a down note.
Hmm.
X-Men Red ended well, but this was just not it. Um but hey, the rise and fall of the House and powers of X are impending.
Yep, we were there at the start. We're gonna be there at the end.
Yep,
Ah, vignette. Thank you, Gavin.
the first episode of Pals Pulls in the new year will feature a review of Fall of the House of X #1.
Hey, let's go! Wow, look at that.
Yeah. So, as an individual issue, pass. Just
Yes.
being honest. If you're on the fence, you don't really care as much about the completionist aspect, and you've been on the horn for this book, I don't think that this is necessary. And I hate to say that because I really loved Immortal X-Men for so long.
Hmm.
It wasn't that many issues ago that I was on this podcast explaining what the hell was going on in the White Room and how I was enjoying that. But this issue is just not it.
And we persisted in the White Room for a while too.
So it's been a whole arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a whole entire arc. Um, Predator versus Wolverine. Yeah, Gavin had some art in there that we saw at
Oh yeah.
yeah. We
New
saw
Comic
that
Con.
yeah, so yeah, that was oh man, that was awesome. Shit, I wish I had realized because I haven't been buying that book. I wish I had realized that this was that issue.
Damn, dude. Ah,
I'm gonna have to
so
get
good.
it next week. I'll have to get it next week because
Pick it.
it really was great. Well, those are the uh those are the last things we have to talk about before Timeless number 1, which is the way that Marvel likes to end the year by presenting us with a book that I guess is supposed to give us an idea of the future of Marvel. And apparently the future involves Luke Cage. Written by the dynamic duo of Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art by Juan Cabal, colors by Edgar Delgado, letters by Travis Lantham. And this is essentially Luke Cage and Iron Fist, friends to enemies,
Burr.
friends to antagonists. And this issue shows us, their very, very earliest moments together, sitting in a diner, and how they sort of become friends. And then it shows us the future where Luke Cage is now the Sentry and the Hulk and
Yeah.
the Iron Fist all in one. Um, and the future is for some reason like very dystopian, but it's future esque, it's futuristic. But it's in a bad way. And apparently, the new Moon Knight has messed everything up, and so we get a big battle. And then we learn that the new Moon Knight is Danny Rand,
What?
and he got a lot of piercings in his ears. Apparently, that's what you do in the future.
And he's actually Khonshu.
Right. And the Void, maybe I
Yeah.
got the implication that he was sort of the Void. Um, and yeah, Luke Cage saves the day. Interspersed. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say I like this issue. I had fun. As much as some of these things were a bit convoluted, I took this as, and then the end confused it for me. But I took this as, oh, this was a nice one shot story. This was a cool little romp to tell. I had fun. The good guy wins at the end. He gets his big punch. Cool, nice. And then this potentially might spin out into the future of something, and that threw me off. And I don't like that there are consequences coming out of this book because I think that this was fine as a solitary issue.
Well, I had the exact opposite experience as you.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of, hey, here's this promise of a future stuff, when most of the time the future in comics that they show you does not happen.
Right, right, yeah.
So what, like, this isn't going to happen. There's not going to be a future that we see unfold in which Luke Cage becomes all of these things and Danny Rand becomes all of these things. It's not going to happen. And so, what is the value of my reading this? I didn't find it particularly fun. It wasn't informative about any of the characters. I didn't learn anything that I need to know about anybody because this isn't really the version of those characters that we follow.
Mm.
And then interspersed are all these images that really don't make any sense. Um, they're supposed to reference or be representations of potential future events. As we know from the Timeless books and the various versions of the Timeless books that Marvel has done over the years, sometimes those things do happen, sometimes they don't. Um, Sometimes they happen in different ways, but there are a lot of things being teased here. For one example, we know this will probably happen. There's Ario Dagger with the Thor, the
Yes.
Immortal Thor.
Yep.
We see that going on right now. He's the Minotaur, and he owns the rights to publishing Thor comics. Okay, great. We know about that already. Blade versus the Hulk or Hulk's son or whatever. Okay, fine. Green Goblin's back. Okay.
Yeah, I took those as like these are the moments that are going to be important and the runs we need to be watching out for. But I'm not familiar with at least the that top panel on the I guess right side with the like it looks like zombie stuff. But I don't know that we've had a zombie crossover outside of a Marvel Zombies, and I'm talking about like currently. And then this new Moon Knight looks to be potentially the stuff that's going on currently with Jed McKay's things. So I was a little I wasn't sure how to ground myself on this.
Well, these are events that are yet to come.
Okay.
These are events that are yet to come. The problem is that these little teases are not compelling,
Sure.
and it's hard to make out what's even happening in a lot of them. I think this issue actually represents everything that I feel is wrong with Marvel right now. It's all bombast. It's very little substance. I don't particularly feel like this was well planned out. Um they're showing stuff that's like, okay, so here's Doom, right? Here's Doctor Doom with Captain America and various other heroes kneeling before him,
Yeah.
and he's holding, I think, Doctor Strange's cape or whatever, and some sort of object in his hand. Maybe it's the Eye of Agamotto, something like that. I don't know. And there's another one: warning, danger room, no admittance, prisoner X in lockdown. Maybe I'm not in a like great mood for this stuff. Maybe that's what it is, but who cares? Truthfully, I'm not. This didn't hook me on wanting to see what the next year of Marvel Comics has to bring. In fact, it did the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think there was a lack of clarity for these things, and because of that lack of clarity, it for me it felt like wasted page space, and that was the biggest thing that I got out of it because I don't know that this is something that they're letting us know is happening or will happen. To your point, it looks like glimpses into the future, but I don't like this presentation. If that's the way you're going to tell me about that, honestly, I want something a bit more straightforward. And it's like, this is our action plan. This is how those stories will tie together. If you're going to give me flashes of images to something that isn't relevant to the current issue that I'm supposed to be reading about, then actually what you're doing is you're detracting from what I'm currently reading. And that those 2, 3, 4 splash pages that were used just to fill things up, I could have gotten more story. And for me, I liked it. But, you know,
It's a $7 preview issue.
Oy.
That's really all it is. Um, I don't know, man. Like there's so many ads in here for future titles, which is, great. Like show us the books we can expect and things like that. But, if I'm gonna drop $7, I would really love to have a relevant story in front of me. I
Yeah,
really would.
of consequence to what will happen in said future.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair enough.
absolutely. I don't feel like that's too much to ask. I don't come on here to badmouth the books, but I don't I feel sort of robbed by this comic. I don't think this really it didn't do much for me at all.
Mm.
Um Fee Waiver says, is this supposed to be a legit preview of the year to come? Like I said, some of this stuff, I'm sure Marvel has a plan for a majority of the things that we see here as it relates to the pages that tease the future for things to happen. But the nature of comics is that things don't always go your way. Some of this stuff will not happen. It's just how it goes. We've seen these kinds of issues time and time again. Some of this stuff will not happen. And the stuff that will happen, like they're showing Dario Agger. Okay, that's happening in Immortal Thor. If you're reading all Immortal Thor, you already know that. So why do I need to see that tease? Is that a tease that's going to make a person say, "Whoa, what? I got to get that." Someone who's not reading Immortal Thor, because if you're reading, you already know that.
Right.
No, you're gonna be like, "Who's that guy reading a Thor comic?" You'd have to know that's Dario Agger. How would you know that? Like he's a guy in a suit.
And especially for it being something that is concurrent at the moment, that was the only reason I popped off. Was like, hey, wait a minute, I recognize it.
Yeah, like the one with Fantastic Four thing is digging a hole
Where?
to
What
a
was that
weird
about?
place. Like, okay.
Oh, you thought to a place? I thought it was they're burying somebody.
Or maybe they're burying somebody, whatever it is. What the hell?
No context, man. It's a shame.
Oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Gavin says if it sells well enough, I'd bet you get some solo series exploring these concepts, though. Yes, but I don't actually want because why would I want a comic that shows a future in which Luke Cage is simply all powerful, has the power of everybody, and Danny Rand is corrupted and taken over by various evil concepts? It's not storytelling to me. It's making characters as powerful as you possibly can and putting them in a situation that's not going to occur in mainline continuity. And for me, I would rather avoid that stuff and focus on the core good comics that Marvel puts out. But when you look at the last year of storytelling at Marvel, for me as a person who's a huge Marvel fan, I've not been very happy.
Yeah.
Outside of Spider-Man and a few small things here or there, I've been pretty unhappy with Marvel. I hate to say that. You heard the DC reviews earlier. I mean, I was happy and high on Action Comics. I was high on Duke. Marvel's just, I don't know. They're in a weird spot.
They're in a weird spot, and I think it's hard to find those pockets where you find solid art and solid writing in the same way as you did PKJ, and whatever team he was on. I think they need to shake things up in the new year, and if they do stuff similar to the whatchamacallit, the Miss Marvel things, like I think that was also a really big blunder on their part, is not treating some of these characters with respect for their longevity. And that needs to be something that they need to address as well. I mean, we're having troubles on that on both ends at the moment. Justice League is sort of squandered. It's not even there. So like they're both kind of in this limbo era of what's going to matter, how are they going to move forward, and they just need to get their ducks in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the new era for the X-Men can
Yeah.
revitalize things. And I mean, people like gods a lot, so there's that. But I don't know. Outside of Spider-Man and limited other things, like Hulk's been great.
Oh yeah.
Incredible Hulk's been great. But I'm struggling with the Marvel stuff right now.
Also Phillip Kennedy Johnson. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. Hottest writer right now in terms of, just outside of the top end, but doing really great things that people are loving.
Yep. Yep.
Hasn't really missed all year long. If he's not on your short list for best writer of 2023, I don't know who is. Better not be Cy Spurrier.
Ooh, good thing I didn't say a word.
You can't. I mean, listen. If you want to put Cy Spurrier on
I'm
your short list, that's cool. But how could PKJ not be there?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Surely I said something about PKJ last year. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Cause surely, I'm positive.
This Saturday is going to be a lot of fun. I'm telling you right
Damn,
now.
dude.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Just give me something.
Tevya says the Spider-Man stuff in Timeless confuses me. Yeah, I mean, if you say something specific, maybe I can help, but probably not because I don't think this issue made a ton of sense. Um, Amin says they also ignored the Kang stuff happening in the other Timeless issues. This felt so out of touch. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Timeless. We've seen it be a Kang vehicle in the past. Kang's nowhere to be found. What was timeless about this? The
Word.
relationship between Luke Cage and Danny Rand?
Timeless. Oh wait, hey, wait a minute. That's not bad.
Yes, it is.
Wait. Hold on. Still a little cheesy, but okay. But to the point of it tying to the Kang things, and I totally forgot that was a thing.
Mess. Ultimate Comics relaunch is the only thing I can get really excited about at Marvel. I hear you, dude. I hear you, Cole. I feel a similar way. I do think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, did what Hickman did in the Ultimate Invasion stuff light me on fire? Hell no. But I do think Ultimate Spider-Man is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. Ultimate Black Panther with Brian Hill on
That's
writing, that's
right.
going to be something special. And then with Ultimate X-Men, we don't know for sure, but it looks like Gail Simone might be on tap with David Marquez. I'm into that. Oh, I'm sorry, I said that. Totally forgot about Peach Momoko.
Oh, that's right, baby. I'm hyped for that.
I'm sorry. The Gail Simone David Marquez is not Ultimate X-Men. That's mainline X-Men. My apologies. Put that to the side. Peach
Ultimate is
Momoko on
Peach.
Ultimate X-Men. Sorry, what's that, Marco?
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Peach Momoko on Ultimate X-Men, not my bag. I am dreading that.
Oh, it's gonna be so good. That genuinely is gonna be a thing of just like, oh, this is gonna be my little toe into the Ultimate universe, because I've not I'm somebody who did not start comics at that time, so I'm very removed from the Ultimate experience. Outside of, I think I read Ultimate, no, I read some of the Ultimates, and then because you guys made me read that one, and then a little bit of maybe one or two trades of Ultimate Spider-Man. So I've been coming into blank slate.
I mean, great. This has no connection to the Ultimate Universe that came before at all, so it really doesn't even matter,
Yeah.
which is good for new readership. Um, do I care about what it appears Peach Momoko's angle for the Ultimate X-Men is? No, but I will absolutely give it a chance, for sure. Ultimate Spider-Man is my last hope for next year. Oh man. I mean, I hope you don't mean that because I don't want you to be disappointed. I think it's going to be good. I do. But what's good for people as it relates to Spider-Man is so specific and particular. I love current Spider-Man by Zeb Wells, but look, I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm the biggest fan of the book on all of YouTube. In all of podcasting space, I'm the biggest fan of of mainline Spider-Man. Everybody else hates it.
And you gotta give credit where credit's due. Honestly, like, I'm not enthralled by it, but nothing about that book is wrong. So I'll give you that, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, come on. Yeah, Gavin, I mean, I thought we were going to go back. I thought that was sort of the idea. In a way, I'm glad we're not because I think this angle that they're taking is more interesting, but it alienates. I still think, and I'm not going to get on my whole Spider-Man soapbox right now, but I still think that there's a place and should be a place somewhere in Marvel's publishing line for stories that feature young Peter Parker. Miles
Mm,
is great. I love Miles, but I don't think that young Peter should be off the table completely at Marvel.
I agree. Um, I've said it before. The My Spider-Man familiarity is the old Stan Lee stuff, Ditko. So that age where he's 17, going into his last year into high school, going into college, that stuff is a sweet spot for me, and I really enjoy that. I don't have that connection with the married life Spider-Man. So if that could exist in two or more books, I'd probably be picking one of those up.
Yeah. Dan says, oh, well, Gavin asks if we're excited about the vampire event that Jen McKay is doing. Of course, that's a reference to Blood Hunt.
Mm.
And to be fair to that event, it's something that Marvel has been building towards for a long time. If you're a regular Marvel reader, there's no way you haven't encountered some amount of the teasing to this big event. But I'm not excited for it, just because Jed McKay's Avengers run didn't do it for me, and
That's right.
I'm burnt out on events that are just thematic. Marvel used to tell events that were driven by what was happening with the characters. Like if you think about Civil War, or you think about Secret Invasion, or you think about World War Hulk, or any of those, Siege, those are all character driven events where actions and behaviors the characters were taking were driving the story. Marvel and DC are both caught in a phase of thing happens, characters react. Oh no, all the characters are beasts. Oh no, vampires have taken over. Oh no, all the characters are sleeping.
Mhm.
I'm cool on that. Oh no, all the characters are magical powered now. I'm cool on that. I want events that are driven by character dynamic, character flaws, power struggles, things of that nature. And Marvel and DC are not giving that.
Yeah, hard to agree.
You guys want to see my stack?
Do it up, baby.
Now, I'm gonna say this. I actually don't know the number once again. I never really did count, and I think that's how I got into this position. But I feel like I've tried to be more cognizant of buying less comics. When I get rung up, the price is never lower. The problem is I can't know if that's because of me or the books. This week we read a $7 comic, a $6.99
Yikes.
comic in Timeless, a $5.99 comic in Action Comics, a $4.99 comic in Titans Beast World. So that's the range of price. So I can't gauge my stack based on price. It's just not doable anymore in this current market. But in any event, let's see where we're at this week. Hopefully, I brought it down in the last month or the last week of the year. But we got to guess what's the over under and what do you guys think the number is?
Do you feel like this was a lighter week in comparison to last week?
I feel like it is, but again, I can't say.
Ooh, in
Do
case.
you want? Okay. This one time, I'll tell you the price. I'll tell you the number.
No, because it's too varied. It's gonna throw us off.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Uncaged though has a good start. 13. I was gonna say 13. I was gonna maybe 12. They took it
Under
too.
over 15.
Under over 15. I say it's just under 15. I say it's 14. Got a
14.
13. Got a 12. Got a 14.
So, yeah. I think it's gonna be under 15 today. I
Really?
just do.
Okay.
I just do.
I think
That's my guess.
I feel under makes sense. Got Catherine Stars 11. Love seeing those green names. Thank you guys.
All right. I'm gonna count.
Let's go. Let's go,
count.
baby.
So we've got Titans. That's one. We've got Action Comics. That's two. Timeless, Flash, Duke, and Immortal. Those are the 6 books that we read today. I also picked up The Holy Roller, number 2.
Hey.
Yes, it's Rick Remender. How could I not? Although I must point out that Andy Samberg took top billing over Rick, which is insane.
He's the writer, bro.
Yeah. Carnage, number 2.
Nice.
World Tree, number 6. Dracula, number 3, getting no love in the poll.
I need to read that one.
Alan Scott, Green Lantern, number 3.
I need to read that.
Detective Comics, number 1080. Red Sonja, number 6.
Oh, give it to me.
Ghost Rider, 21.
Oh,
And finally,
damn.
Miles Morales, Spider-Man. What's that, 15 on the
That's
dot?
15 on the dot.
Wow.
And you marked it as under or over 15 specifically. Damn.
15 on the money. I mean, if no one said 15, but, and it's not over and it's not under. It's right in the middle. So I guess everybody loses.
Dang, dude, I was this close. This close.
Oh, my God. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't go to the store. I don't go to Midtown and go, all right, I can only get X amount of books this week. I don't want to count. If I count, it makes it worse. This that we're doing here, this stack segment we've got now, or whatever, is my way of dealing with the fact that I can't keep my comics collection under control.
This is his little venting session. This is where we hold him accountable. Hey, buy less books.
I should. I need to.
Although, you gotta keep up with some things, right? I do have to read both Dracula and that the Green Lantern issue. There's some chatter about it in the Discord, which I need to finish reading so I can go back and engage in.
Great comics.
Yeah,
It's great comics.
Yep.
First guess was 14. That said, nah, he's been better. That's what I get for Faith. I don't know that I've been better. I don't know that at all. I don't know that. I've just been doing my thing. You guys are the ones that have to hold me accountable. And of course, I guess I should hold myself accountable too. But I need your help. I need your help because this is This is quite a situation.
Power it down. Power it down.
Yeah. Hopefully I can do that in 2024, whatever year we're going into. I was about to say 2022. I'm stuck in I'm timeless. I'm stuck in a time warp.
The loop.
Yeah, I would love to break the loop. It's an evil loop. Um Thank you guys so much for joining us on the finale for the year of Pals Pulls. Of course, we'll be back next year, next Thursday, actually,
On the 4th.
on the 4th, for more Pals Pulls. I do want to look at the poll one more time,
Oh yeah.
and see where we're at. The poll is available right now. It's up right now on youtube.com/slash the Comics Pals under the community tab. So if you're listening to me, before you cut out, make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Always vote. And right now, the poll stands at Birds of Prey, number 5, with 32% of the vote. Poison Ivy, number 18, with 12% of the vote. Marvel Meow, number 1, with 21% of the vote. And Vengeance of Moon Knight, number 1, now winning the poll with 35% of the vote.
Wow.
Whereas we had a tie before. So we've got lots of days left to go. Wednesday is when the poll closes, so you guys have got a lot of time. If you're hearing me at any time, pretty much there is a poll. So go vote, cast your vote. Join us this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. 12 p.m. for the Pallies. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be giving away awards for the best various things of the year: best writer, best artist, best ongoing series, blah 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 blah. And we're gonna go over our predictions for 2023. All the predictions we made in 2022. We're gonna go over those this year and see who won. See who had the most predictions right.
Come back to see me. I'm gonna have a big old Marco win signs because that's the only expectation. So.
And the way that you guys participate, we need your help, because all tiebreakers during the show will be broken by you all.
Ooh, by vote.
Yes, by audience vote.
We'll put up a poll. We'll give it 2-3 minutes and let them decide.
Fee Waiver trying to convince people to stop voting Poison Ivy and move over to Birds of Prey. Listen, I'm not gonna say to do that, but I am gonna say that I really hope we review Birds of Prey next time.
I'm in Paris in the chat. Bay, wake up! It's Pally's week. Week, bro.
We'll see you guys then. We'll see you Saturday at 12 p.m. Don't forget, don't wake up too early now. No, a lot of you set your watch and warrant to us on Saturdays. It's 12 p.m. So make sure you're up 11:55, whatever it is you do. Get your coffee, hit the bathroom, all that stuff. But be in your seat. 12 p.m. It's going to be a ton of fun. We will see you guys then. Thank you so much. Until then, take care, guys.